Hello, and thank you for joining me here on the News Summary. I am Nursultan. Stay with me and learn about the main developments and events that took place in Kazakhstan in the past week. Nursultan Nazarbayev has officially taken office as the President of Kazakhstan. The inauguration ceremony was held in Astana on April 29th. The President has sworn in to protect the country and promised well-being for the people of Kazakhstan. Snap presidential election took place on April 26th with a record voter turnout. Our first story will unveil the new goals and objectives of our President.
The inauguration ceremony is always the most solemn and important event. Every detail, every step of the guards are all worked out to the smallest detail. The presidential motorcade accompanied by motorcyclists moved from Accorda to the Palace of Independence. These shots will forever be remembered in history. Nursultan Nazarbayev won a landslide victory in the election. Kazakhstani people once again expressed their confidence to the nation's leader and voted for stability and prosperity.
Елбасы Nursultan Nazarbayev.
People in the Great Hall of the Palace of Independence meet the president with ovations. Everybody is in anticipation of the main event of the day, the oath.
Kazakhstan халқына адал қызмет етуге, Қазақстан Республикасының Конституция мен заңдарын қатаң орындауға, азаматтардың құқықтары мен бостандығына кепілдік беруге, Қазақстан Республикасының өзіме жүктелген мәртебелі міндетін адал атқаруға салтанатты түрде ант етемін.
The results of the election in Kazakhstan are impressive. More than 95% of all voters came to polling stations. It is a true record, while almost 98% of Kazakh citizens voted for Nursultan Nazarbayev. It is a bright, beautiful, and unconditional victory.
Силу единства нашего общества наглядно показали состоявшиеся президентские выборы.
The last presidential election clearly showed the power of unity in our society. I am grateful to all our people. We have shown to the world the power of unity, a strong cohesion of Kazakhstani people. Your trust has always inspired, gave me confidence and strength. And now I want to say with full responsibility that, as in previous years, I will faithfully serve the people and protect the country and the welfare of all our citizens, protect our highest national interests.
И благополучие всех наших граждан буду защищать наши высшие общенациональные интересы.
Nursultan Nazarbayev reminded the Kazakh people had gone through a tough independence period. There were difficulties in the economy and various crises, but nothing could break the spirit of the people. The people of Kazakhstan have built a new capital and entered the top 50 largest economies in the world. There are new goals, however. There are also more challenges: the crisis of the world order, the currency and trade wars, and world sanctions.
В ответ на турбулентность мировой экономики мы разработали новую экономическую политику Nurly Zhol.
In response to the turbulence in global economy, we have developed a new economic policy, Nurly Zhol. It represents bold, rapid actions with the main goal, the creation of new jobs and consolidation of the foundations for new economic growth. But it is important to understand that external threats are increasing. We need to strengthen internally to cope with the external threats.
Угрозы нарастают. Чтобы справиться с внешними угрозами, нам необходимо укрепиться внутри страны.
The president proposed to strengthen the middle class to help the economy. Its share should be significantly increased. Kazakhstan would develop a single internal market where new jobs will be created and the fight against corruption will be continued, while business development will still be a priority. The climax of all reforms will be strengthening of nation's unity.
Время мировых перемен ставит каждое государство перед выбором или реформы, или деградация, отставания.
The time of world changes makes each state choose either reforms or degradation and weakness. Those who will worthily pass through an era of changes will be capable of self-renewal, reforms. We face a huge task to make our ship of state unsinkable. Therefore, the task in the coming years will be to strengthen Kazakhstan, and even though the global storms confidently enter the top 30 economies, as we have scheduled, the leaders of the future world, I therefore propose 5 institutional reforms that have become my election platforms.
И даже несмотря на время мировых бурь, уверены войти в тридцатку государств, как мы это и намечаем, лидеров грядущего мира.
In order to explain and clarify the meaning of the implementation of each reform, Nursultan Nazarbayev is going to present a new plan with the symbolic name Plan of the Nation. 100 concrete steps to further state building. These are the main tasks for the next 10 to 15 years.
Я назвал план реформ планом нации.
I call the reform plan of the nation because the reforms require direct involvement of every citizen of Kazakhstan. The reforms are the activities of the people and not just of the state. The essence of the reform is the modernization of the nation. It is the quality of the nation, the power of the people's spirit, the ability to meet the challenges of time and only move forward. It will be a determining factor in the success of the state.
Способность принять вызовы времени идти только вперед было и будет определяющим фактором успеха нашего государства.
The president explained in detail the way he sees the future of Kazakhstan, a country where civil service is a prototype of a just society, where the judicial system is impartial, the right to private property is firm, and the business climate is the most attractive in the world, where education and healthcare are the highest levels, and the state apparatus is transparent, and all citizens enjoy one volume of rights and have access to equal opportunities. That is the way to Mangelik Yel, a single nation of the future.
Казахстанская мудрость гласит: асу бермес, асқар жоқ дейді біздің ел. Нет ничего невозможного.
The well-known proverb says nothing is impossible. Kazakhstan's way united our nation with one goal and one common dream. The election showed that every citizen of Kazakhstan is aware of his duty before himself and the state, and this is the source of my confidence in the success of the reforms, the success of my people and the state. I appeal to the nation to take the broadest possible participation in the reforms announced by me. We are a strong nation. We do take the decisive step into a new period. Let the soil of our country be blessed eternally. So be strong, our united nation.
Объявленных мной реформах. Пусть будет благословенна вечная земля нашего Казахстана. Пусть будет сильна наша единая нация.
The President of Kazakhstan is also the Supreme Commander, and therefore on the square in front of the Palace of Independence, the Minister of Defense was waiting for Nursultan Nazarbayev. After the head of state adopted the report, a solemn march parade of the armed forces was held on the square.
Сәлеметсіздер ме, жауынгерлер?
Nursultan Nazarbayev officially assumed his presidential duties, and the president is always close to the people. Even on this day, there was no exception. After the festivities, the president spoke to the people gathered in the square. Nursultan Nazarbayev appreciated the trust of the people, and the people of Kazakhstan answered back the same way. On April 26, 8,833,250 people gave their votes for him.
Many people across our vast country have embraced Nursultan Nazarbayev's smashing election win and his inauguration. Dozens of flash mobs have taken place. In Taraz, more than 1,000 people have stated that it's about time we bring some change and new reforms. The participants of the flash mob gathered in the park of the first president. Members of ethnic and cultural centers, youth associations and ordinary citizens have expressed support for the 5 institutional reforms proposed by the president. They believe their implementation will give a fitting rebuff to some major challenges. In Kızılorda, young members of Kazakhstan's ethnic assembly gathered at the local culture house to mark the election win of President Nazarbayev. They performed different folk dances like Georgian, Uzbek, Russian, Turkish, and of course the Kazakh Karajorga. More than 500 students and young professionals staged a flash mob in Usk-Kamenogorsk. Young activists said that for them, Nursultan Nazarbayev sets an example of patriotism and devotion to his people, and his victory in the recent election is the recognition of president's merits by the people of Kazakhstan.
His institutional reforms are the future of the country. All of the assembly today, all people came to the square to take part in the flash mob to support our leader to achieve the objectives of the future of our Kazakhstan. We are very pleased, and the fact that over the years hundreds of ethnic groups are friends under a common roof. Thanks to his wise policy, we live in peace and harmony in Kazakhstan. My country is an independent state. Just for today, I can confidently look into the future, as when we are together with the president, we can expect stability, peace, and harmony.
At the inauguration ceremony held in Astana, President Nazarbayev has quoted lines from the essay of Karina Danilova, a schoolgirl from Aktau. "I want to live in a safe and peaceful country," said the fifth grader in her essay. "I wish there were no wars. I wish for a peaceful sky over our heads." Karina wrote this essay for one of her classes in school last year. The piece was published in a local newspaper and later was noticed by the president. Karina's grandparents saw the Second World War, and her family witnessed the military conflicts in Chechnya and Tajikistan. Later, they have moved to Kazakhstan. Karina was born in Aktau. She speaks Kazakh and plays the dombra.
I was very happy. I was shocked by the fact that the president, the head of Kazakhstan, remembered my essay and read it. I'm very glad. We voted for the president, and I really wanted him to be the president again. I want Nursultan Nazarbayev to be the president of Kazakhstan forever. I love my president. It was very surprising to learn that Nursultan Nazarbayev knew the name of my child and quoted her. It was unexpected. We have always tried to educate her in the spirit of internationalism. Since early childhood, she has been learning the state language, and she tried to achieve success in speaking the Kazakh language. We followed her example and learned the language too.
Она у меня еще в школу не ходила, я ее старалась, чтобы она изучала казахский язык.
Kazakhstan marked the Day of People's Unity on May 1st. Our country is home for 150 nations and nationalities. Thus, May 1st is a special day that brings people from different backgrounds and cultures together. This year, this bright spring holiday was marked in every city with parades, concerts, and festivities.
Kazakhstan celebrates one of the major holidays, the Day of the People's Unity. On occasion this year, Kazakhstanis rest for 3 days, the 1st, the 2nd, and the 3rd of May, during which theatrical performances, holiday concerts, and festivals will be held in all parts of the country. The grand show was held today in Astana at the square near Kazakh Yele monument, where folk festivals took place. Kazakh pop stars performed for thousands of Astana residents and guests. Cultural centers of the capital and the whole country demonstrated their culture and identity. The event was attended by the head of state, Nursultan Nazarbayev. The president congratulated Kazakhstanis on the holiday and wished them prosperity, happiness, and success.
Я хочу от души сегодня поздравить с праздником.
Today, I want to congratulate sincerely with the Day of Unity of our country. Past national elections have shown strength and unity to the whole world, that through this unity and stability of our multi-ethnic country, we have achieved great strides. I spoke about great challenges that face us. In order to carry them out, we need to preserve unity. So today is a public holiday, the Day of Unity of Kazakhstan.
Мы добились больших успехов. Я говорил о больших задачах, которые стоят перед нами. Чтобы их выполнить, нам нужно сохранить единство.
Этот праздник нам приносит мир, дружбу, счастье.
This holiday brings us peace, friendship, and happiness. I wish you all that harmony and stability have always been in our country, that we have always lived in peace, and Kazakhstan has always flourished. We love this holiday because we celebrate it with the family and our friends of different nationalities, Russians, Germans, and Poles. We all love this holiday.
Поздравляю всех казахстанцев.
Congratulations to all Kazakhstanis on this great holiday, May 1st, the Day of Consent, the friendship of all peoples. I am very proud that I live in Kazakhstan. Let people in our country live in peace and harmony.
Что живу в Казахстане.
Самые тяжелые годы репрессий.
In difficult years of repression, Kazakh people accepted different peoples and shared their last with them. Now these people are the most respected in our country. The policy of our president contributes to this.
Соответствует политика нашего главы государства.
In Almaty, the main celebrations take place in Central Park. After the reconstruction, this part of the city has become the favorite destination for all citizens. A concert, sport contest, quizzes, and a grand costume show were organized here in honor of the holiday here.
Вот этот праздник, и вот как сегодня много людей.
Here is the holiday, and so many people here are today, and how much we give our energy and culture. It suggests that our people are united. If we are united, we will all be right.
Народ един, будем мы едины. Будет у нас все в порядке.
The Day of the Unity of the People of Kazakhstan is celebrated on a big scale in Karaganda as well. The festivities started with a procession along with the main avenue of the miners' capital. 18,000 people, including labor groups, students, and representatives of ethno-cultural associations participated there. After the procession, artistic groups gave citizens a concert. Today's holiday is more pleasant amid the election campaign. We are very pleased that our president, Nursultan Nazarbayev, has again become our president. We have a strong foundation of the People's Assembly of Kazakhstan, on which basis we can continue to build our Kazakhstani society, friendly, united, and fraternal. More than 300 events have been devoted to the holiday in eastern Kazakhstan. In Uсть-Kamenogorsk, the celebration began with a procession called I Am a Patriot of Kazakhstan, headed by bikers and a military orchestra. The column passed through several streets of the regional center playing music. In total, the procession was attended by about 15,000 people. There are representatives of ethnocultural associations, labor groups, students, pupils, physicians, and teachers. More than 20 white doves and 20,000 balloons have been launched into the sky in honor of the feast as a part of the good tradition. We came with our entire family to celebrate the Day of Peace. I wish our country silence, peace and calmness. We and all the people are celebrating this wonderful holiday as we celebrated the inauguration of our wonderful president. Today we will dance and have fun, and we are joyful in this unforgettable holiday. A new ethnocultural union has been introduced in honor of the holiday. Now the Assembly's regional headquarters has 24 located all throughout the country. Preparations for the opening of the Finno-Ugric Association, which included representatives from 5 nationalities at once, Udmurt, Mari, Mordvinians, Komi-Perm, and Hungary, took about 2 months. We are very pleased that the opening of our national center was in anticipation of this wonderful holiday. On May 1st, the day of the unity of the people of Kazakhstan, we wish peace and prosperity to all Pavlodar residents and all Kazakhstan citizens. My mood is very good, especially just over the inauguration. We arrived from there and witnessed the grand event of magnificent victory of our president, the people's victory. Because such a voter turnout happened for the first time in the history of the world in general, we are very happy, and I want to say I am grateful to all Kazakhstani citizens.
Kazakhstan's Ethnic Assembly held its 22nd extended meeting earlier in April, bringing together 1,500 people from countries' regions to the Palace of Peace and Reconciliation in Astana. The meeting was chaired by President Nazarbayev, who outlined 7 new tasks set forth for the Assembly. President Nazarbayev offered to introduce a new holiday, the Gratitude Day, to celebrate friendship, unity, and mutual understanding between different ethnic groups.
They sincerely smile, greet, and wish each other only the best things. They are of different nationalities and have different religions, but they are united by something more. All of them are Kazakhstanis who cherish their homeland and will not allow anyone show hostility. Nursultan Nazarbayev, as the initiator and inspirer of the People's Assembly, keeps saying the unity of the nation is our greatest fortune. Every day, these words are becoming more relevant when people look around and see how the blood of innocent runs in the world.
Мир устроен так, что этнические, языковые, религиозные, культурные различия, которые есть.
The world runs the way, so the ethnic, linguistic, and cultural differences that exist in the foreseeable future will always remain, but they should not divide. On the contrary, they should unite. History of the Assembly is a story of our stability. We should cherish it. We should always remember and cherish it. This is the most important thing for people's history, for friendship and understanding, for our children and grandchildren.
Для дружбы и взаимопонимания людей, для наших детей и внуков.
By fate, representatives of different ethnic groups settled on the territory of Kazakhstan. According to the President of Kazakhstan, since the beginning of the 20th century, more than 5.5 million people moved to the Kazakh steppes. Each citizen should know these pages of national history.
При сталинском режиме в разные годы были депортированы, как вы знаете, целые народы. 800 тысяч немцев, 102 тысячи поляков, 550 тысяч представителей народов Северного Кавказа и около 100 тысяч корейских семей из Дальнего Востока.
Under Stalin's decree, whole nations were deported to Kazakhstan. 800,000 Germans, 102,000 Poles, 550,000 representatives of the peoples of the North Caucasus, and about 100,000 Korean families from the Far East. They were transported in train wagons, which were used for transporting cattle in the steppes. In the villages, with no human conditions, only allowed to bring small bags with them. At the time, only Kazakhs lived in the steppes, so only they could accommodate newcomers. And Kazakh families, who were also in dire need in the post-war period, took the deportees into their houses. I tell this story not because I know the history, but because our family, who lived in an adobe house for 10 square meters each room, adopted a family with 3 children. I always remember how they all gathered in a corner of a small room and were petrified of everything. They sat huddled, ragged, hungry, and unshaven. They lived in our family and then started working, and they were grateful to us. We were friends as long as they were alive.
Друг другу сидели, оборванные, голодные, обросшие. И прожили они в нашей семье, начали работать, потом отделились. Конечно, всю жизнь остались благодарными. Я с их детьми дружил до тех пор, пока они были живы.
Kazakh people made a real feat. There were too many families who have been saved from hunger and cold because of kindness and hospitality of Kazakhs. They shared with everything without asking anything in return. Nursultan Nazarbayev proposed to establish a day of gratitude of all ethnic groups to each other and especially to Kazakhs. This holiday will bond the multinational peoples even stronger.
Ни одна страна в мире, ни один народ не испытал на своей судьбе такой излом своей демографической ситуации и не стоял перед пропастью полного исчезновения, как казахский народ.
No country in the world, no nation has experienced such a break in fate in their demographics and didn't face extinction as Kazakh people. We survived and we united as a nation. We were not outraged or angry. We didn't accuse anybody of cruel vicissitudes of the 20th century. We survived, helped all the innocent victims of Stalinism. We achieved independence peacefully, uniting around all ethnic groups and religions. And today we move forward, relying on tolerance and trust to each other. I bow to our courageous people who made it.
Низкий поклон нашему мужественному народу, сделавшему это.
This year, Kazakhstan People's Assembly marks its 20th anniversary. Nursultan Nazarbayev has once again highlighted the role of this unique institution and outlined the challenges that it faces in the future. This is the development of Kazakh culture, the preservation of people's unity, and learning the state language will be another unifying factor, and much more. Most importantly, Kazakhstani people proved and showed the world how different people and nationalities live in peace and harmony while achieving the objectives that some spent centuries to achieve.
Все мои главные инициативы, стратегия 2030 и 2050, новая индустриализация страны.
All my major initiatives, strategies 2030 and 2050, new industrialization, the program Nurly Zhol, 5 People's Reforms are great projects for generations designed for many years for the stable development of our country. Only a powerful nation mechanism can launch it, and it can be the nation of united future. We are possibly forming and building a unique model of unity of the people.
Народный механизм. Таковым может стать нация единого будущего.
Unique model of unity of the people of Kazakhstan, where Russian people are fluent at the state language and Kazakh people freely express their words in the language of Pushkin and Tolstoy. That's the way it was today. Some even received standing ovations. Kazakhstan People's Assembly sessions always include new and interesting people who come to Astana from country's various regions. Natalia Skorikova came from Temirtau and sent her regards on behalf of all the women of the country.
Ассамблея сегодня – это 17 миллионов казахстанцев.
The assembly today means 17 million people of Kazakhstan. 8 million women admire you. These women thank you for the peaceful sky, for the opportunity to live in peace. Nursultan Nazarbayev, 8 million women love you.
Мирное небо, за возможность жить здесь. Нурсултан Абишевич, 8 миллионов женщин любят вас.
That's the way sessions at the assembly usually go, with jokes, smiles, and subtle humor, which Nursultan Nazarbayev surely has. Here people don't read their speeches, they deliver speeches from the heart, and the president will always give his support.
Когда я сказала своим ученикам, что еду к президенту, они мне не поверили.
When I told my students that I'm going to meet the president, they didn't believe me. Someone said the president will never meet a teacher. And I said that the president loves his people, and there is no one closer to the people than a teacher. No president takes care of the youth the way you do.
Однажды премьер-министр Японии заходит в школьный класс, и учительница только кивком поприветствовала и продолжала проводить урок.
Once a prime minister of Japan entered the classroom and the teacher greeted him only by a simple nod and continued the lesson. She was extremely rude to the Prime Minister by Japanese etiquette. After the class, she let the children go and properly bowed to the Prime Minister and apologized. She explained that she couldn't risk her reputation of a teacher even in front of the Prime Minister. Therefore, I support Irina's reputation. I wish you much success.
Таким образом, я авторитет Ирины поддерживаю, подходя. Желаю тебе успеха.
Nursultan Nazarbayev awarded a special medal to citizens who have made a significant contribution to strengthening the independence and national unity. According to the presidential decree, 3,000 more Kazakhstanis will receive the same award during the 20th anniversary of the Assembly. The regular session of the Assembly of People of Kazakhstan, which was titled Mangilik Yel, One Country, One Destiny, has traditionally ended with a festive concert.
Special train My Kazakhstan, as part of the Republican campaign marking the Year of People's Assembly, has returned to Astana after a tour across the country. Within just 1 month, the train visited 27 stations. Doctors, parliamentarians, lawyers, artists, and scientists were among the 180 train passengers. They rendered the local residents free medical, social, legal, and business counseling. Particular attention was paid to the Second World War veterans, large families, and orphans.
В рамках широкомасштабной акции
3 medical trains have been organized as part of a large-scale campaign, My Kazakhstan. During the tour, highly qualified doctors of 3 medical trains named Salamati Kazakhstan, Densaulik, and Jardem have provided free medical assistance to more than 21,000 people.
специализированных медицинских поездов.
We provided legal assistance to the population. People asked questions concerning the registry office, notary office, and judicial executions. There were more than 700 people, and they were all satisfied. We pay particular attention to complex issues.
Kazakhstan is working on projects to build logistics terminals at the Baltic Sea and the Persian Gulf region. The country's new strategy aims to take advantage of the transit potential of the geographic location between Europe and Asia. Astana hosted Eurasia Transport Quarter's New Ways of Cooperation Forum on April 20th, where the ways of improving transport infrastructure were discussed. Industry experts from different countries have discussed Kazakhstan's efforts in building its transport capacity. Kazakhstan has built 2,500 kilometers of railways over the past 20 years. New rail lines were introduced in 2014 that have optimized the traffic flows. Transportation costs were reduced by almost 30% after the launch.
In 2020, Kazakhstan will have 20 ships. Taking into account the fact that the port of Aktau plays an important role in the region and provides 25% of all traffic flow in the Caspian Sea, we will complete the expansion of this port this year. Thus, we will increase the seaport capacity by 21 million tons of cargo a year.
The Silk Road Revival is a challenging project for Kazakhstan and our neighbor states. To strengthen cooperation in this regard, the Strategic Research Institutes of Kazakhstan, Turkey, Azerbaijan, and Kyrgyzstan have signed a memorandum on cooperation in Astana. Construction of the Expo 2017 exhibition complex began a year ago. The total area of the Expo site is 25 acres. The construction works are underway with 38 facilities included in the master plan. How's the construction coming along? To learn the answer, watch our next story.
In general, the construction is scheduled to be finished in October 2016. According to experts, the construction process should be accelerated and the labor should be increased by 20% of new employees during the summer. Currently, there are about 3,500 people employed at the construction site. There are almost 70 tower cranes and mostly Kazakhstan-produced materials are used in this large-scale project. At this stage of the construction, almost 95% of all used materials are produced from our factories. There are fittings, concrete, etc. Kazakhstan content makes up to 55%. Then, of course, it will reduce because there will be a technologically difficult construction. The entire territory of the future complex is divided between 5 contractors. Each company has its own area. As a result, they should build an overall site. 14 international pavilions where exhibition centers of more than 100 countries will be placed. 4 thematic pavilions will be dedicated to different sources of energy, and a huge ball will be located in the center with a diameter of 80 meters. The organizers hope it will become the main symbol of the exhibition in Astana, like the Eiffel Tower was in Paris. The sphere is certainly a unique building. It will be the world's first sphere of such a large diameter. There is no such building in the world, and yet it is not projected anywhere. The sphere will have a permanent exhibition. It will be a museum of the future and will be constantly updated. There will be wind turbines that provide separate electricity supply to the building installed on the roof of the central pavilion. According to experts, there are few such structures in the world, only in China and America. But not only the sphere will become an example of the use of technologies of the future, other pavilions will also be built with the usage of innovations.
Здания все-таки будут очень высокотехнологичные, то есть там это...
These buildings are very high-tech. The contact of oxygen in the air, light and humidity, etc. all will be taken into consideration. Accordingly, we already receive proposals from many museums in the world like the Louvre and others. In the future, many expositions will be exhibited here. This is a very promising proposal. This year will be the peak of construction and installation works. By October 2016, basic buildings and infrastructure will be completed. The expo organizer's office will be the first to be commissioned. The facade of the building is almost ready. Foreign delegations will be received. More than 20 countries have confirmed their participation in the exhibition.
1,500 exhibits dedicated to the 70th anniversary of the victory in the Second World War have been showcased at the Urals Museum. The exhibition contains comprehensive information and data related to the hometown heroes born in Urals. In addition to weapons, uniforms, and soldiers' personal belongings, trophies delivered from Berlin have also been presented here. The museum possesses a soldier's tunique donated to the Soviet soldiers by Queen Elizabeth.
Our fathers, our grandfathers fought in the war. Many of them never returned from the front line, and that's our goal, to preserve their memory, so that the younger generation would not forget about them and would remember their deeds. We try to gather as much as we can the materials about the Uralsk soldiers, participants of the great patriotic war in World War II. The hall is dedicated to this holiday, where precious materials exposed, such as weapons, some details of the time of World War II. We are glad, of course, that young people are interested in it.
The past week brought some sad news for many of my fellow countrymen. Kazakh musician and singer Batyrkhan Shukenov died of heart attack at age 52. Many are still mourning the unfortunate and sudden passing away of a highly acclaimed musician whose name was well known far beyond Kazakhstan. Thousands of fans gathered in different cities of the country to bid farewell to their favorite singer and pay tribute to his tremendous musical legacy.
Kazakh singer Batyrkhan Shukenov died in Moscow. On May 18th, he would be 53 years old. In recent years, the musician has lived and worked in Russia. Musicians, producers, and actors came to the city hospital of Botkina to say goodbye to him. Many until this moment could not believe he was dead.
Без 15:10 он мне позвонил, сказал, что-то мне плохо. Я говорю...
I went to bed when it was 9:45 p.m. He called me and said he was not feeling good. He said his breast is hurting. I told him to call an ambulance. He said, wait, right now, I'll drink a pill. 5 minutes later, he called back and said, call an ambulance. The ambulance arrived. We began to bear him. 3 meters after, he said, I am dizzy and lost consciousness. All further steps were already resuscitative.
И уже там все дальнейшие действия реанимационные, они уже были.
According to the producer, the musician had heart problems since childhood. The last time he had a medical checkup in January in the United States. Colleagues says that the heart of the artist could not stand intensive loads. In the last year, he had a lot of shooting. The last live performance of the musician came on the eve of his death. April 28th, on his official page and social networks, he presented a new song. Also, he actively participated in filming of the 3rd season of the popular show of reincarnations As Is. His friends and family say that Batyrkhan Shukenov was the peak of a new creative upsurge. A very good musician, a great saxophone player, a wonderful singer, and just a wonderful guy left us. There was some kind of tragedy within him, and of course his death left behind some kind of an innuendo. The body of Batyrkhan Shukenov will be transported from Moscow to Almaty. He will be buried on his native land. But already from the early morning to the Palace of the Republic, where Batyrkhan gave his last concert, Almaty residents bring flowers and photos of their favorite singer. He graduated from the Almaty Conservatory and received a degree in saxophone playing. He played in the Arai group, which accompanied to Rosa Rimbayeva, and with who later he sang a duet with.
Это невосполнимая потеря. Говорят, такая фраза есть. Незаменимых не бывает.
There is an adage, no man is indispensable, but nobody can replace Batyrkhan. There will be other musicians of another level, another manner of performances, but not like Batır.
Но не такого, как Батырхан.
Then Alma-Ata Group appeared, which is where the famous A Studio originates from. The 1989 hit Joly conquered everyone. A Studio Batyrkhan left in 2000 for his own solo career. In 2012, he recorded his first album, Otan Ana. He was an advisor to the President of Kazakhstan in culture and a UNICEF Goodwill ambassador.
These were the main news from Kazakhstan for the past week. I'll see you in 2 weeks. Goodbye.